All right, the United States House of Representatives is gearing up for deliberations on the passing of a new stimulus package. We did let you know on this channel a couple of weeks ago that we believe the government would pass a new stimulus, and it would include more direct payments to U.S. citizens, and it looks like they are going to do just that. It is still the early portion of it, though. So basically what's happening right now is they are proposing bills, and those bills are going to be debated back and forth. Eventually, something's going to be written up and passed and then sent off to the Senate. So far on this channel, we looked at the bill that was proposed, which would pay American citizens $2,000 a month for the next 6 months. If you want to see our video on that bill, I will leave you the link below. Go ahead and check it out. However, on this episode, I want to look at the newly proposed bill, which is written to provide all Americans free rent and free mortgage over the next year. I do think it's important for us to be updated about this because the government is going to pass something and it's going to impact you. So if you want to know what's going on and what effect it's going to have on you, consider subscribing to the channel. We will keep you in the loop every step of the way. So far, these are the two major bills that have been proposed. They're not the only ones. There are others. In fact, even in the Senate, Senator Josh Hawley has proposed Americans to be paid 80% of their wages, up to $59,000 by the government. And also 62 representatives have signed a letter that has stated that the government should continue ongoing and robust payments to American citizens. The important part of that is the mindset of our congresspeople. They do, in fact, want to continue direct payments to U.S. citizens. So let's go ahead and take a look at this free rent and free mortgage thing. What is in this and what does it actually mean? Well, first off, it's for everyone, which means no matter how poor you are or how rich you are, all Americans are included in it. It is only for the primary residence, though, but you can be a homeowner, a renter, a subleaser. In fact, you could even rent just a single room and it would apply to you. In addition, it would be for the length of a year, from March 13th, 2020 to March 13th, 2021. And it would be retroactive. So basically, whenever they pass this bill, whatever money you did pay in rent or your mortgage from March 13th to when they pass it, you would get that money back. Also, you would not be affected negatively in your credit, and there would be no built-up debt either, meaning at the end of the year, you're not going to owe all of that money back in some sort of lump payment or reoccurring future payments. I think it's important to note, though, what is going to be the impact on landlords, because a lot of people in the United States make their money based off of rentals. And if no one's going to be paying rent money anymore or mortgages if this thing did pass, how are those U.S. citizens going to be provided for? Well, it's written in the bill that the government would provide money for any losses that those landlords would have. All those landlords would need to do is certify that they will not increase their rent for the next 5 years, and they would be able to recoup any losses that they would have with the passing of this bill. They would also be subject to a little bit more scrutiny when it comes to the eviction of any tenants that they have, because of course the government would not want anyone to be evicted during the time period of this payout. So what would the total cost of something like this be? You would think all of the mortgages and all of the rentals in the United States of America, something like this has to be monumental in its cost. And I was actually surprised at how little it was. The total cost to run this for a year would be about $1.5 to $2 trillion, which is actually less than the previous bill we looked at, which would pay American citizens $2,000 a month every 6 months. That one would cost about $3 trillion to run. So is it possible that any one of these bills will actually make it through the House and onto the Senate? I'm going to give you my opinion here in just a moment, but I would like to know yours, so go ahead and leave your comments below. Let me know what you're thinking about it. But from my personal opinion, the weakest of these two bills is the free rent and free mortgage one for two reasons. The first reason is it applies to everyone. If somebody makes $20 million and they have a home that they have a $25,000 a month mortgage on, they're going to get a free mortgage. I don't think you need to have a bill that applies to millionaires in this situation. In addition, and this is the biggest reason why I don't think this bill is going to pass, is it's too complicated. It would require the government to make mortgage and rent free for every U.S. citizen and then provide money back to all landlords in the United States for an entire year. The IRS and the Treasury can't even figure out how to get direct deposits to Social Security recipients and those on SSI or VA through the last stimulus package we saw. Are they actually really going to be able to run something this complicated efficiently? And I think the answer is no. So I don't think it's really going to pass through. The only thing that really makes sense is direct payments to U.S. citizens. It's simple enough that the government can do it. However, the one that's been proposed, I think, is a little too much for a little too long. I think something more reasonable would be $1,000 a month for U.S. citizens over the next 2 or 3 months. Something like that would cost between $500 billion to around $850 billion, depending on how long they do it and who they include. That is far more reasonable. And then at the end of the 2 or 3 months, they can revisit the bill and decide if they want to extend it or not. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think the government should at this point stop doing everything entirely? They're wasting too much money? Or do you think it's vitally important that they continue these payments to American citizens? What amount do you think is right? What length of time do you think is right? As always, if you enjoy the information and you feel that it's valuable, consider subscribing to the channel. We would love you to come along with us. We will catch you guys next time.